All right, thanks for accepting this moment, this interview. This event has great news for the Republic of Togo. We hear the announcement of President Biden saying that Togo is part of the country that are selected for the full compact. It's a new thing, but it's great news. We don't know much about it. The people would like to know more about it. It's exciting news. So please tell us, what should we take from that?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to have the interview. My agency, the Millenium Challenge Corporation, which is part of the U.S. government amongst our tools that work in international development, already has a long-standing relationship with Togo through one of our programs, which is called Threshold. And we are already working with Minister Lawson and your government on some things in the ICT area, and we're very excited about it. We also have a larger program, which is called a compact, and every year the agency looks at a lot of evaluation, a lot of details, a lot of metrics to determine who is eligible for a compact. And all of that information is assembled in what we call a scorecard. And we did all of our evaluation this year, and Togo is now became eligible for a compact, and our board of directors selected them just about a week and a half ago. And the president announced, President Biden, that yesterday that Togo is now eligible. So in terms of what it means for the Togolese people, we will now be working with the government to identify what we call, it's called key constraints, but what it basically means is what are the main challenges that the country faces towards developing its economy and towards developing opportunities for the citizens. So we have a lot of analytical work to do, which we will do with our friends in Togo and the Togolese government, and then we'll begin to identify what the opportunities are, and then once we work that out, we will then provide funding to invest in those areas, and the funding is grant funding. So big picture, it's a way of having the United States work closely with Togo on investing in its economy.
And can we know a little bit about the envelope? Is it going to be dispersed each year? What will be the amount?
Well, I know that's the big question, but we don't know yet. And the reason why we don't know yet is that we like to go through a lot of this analytical work with the government first to really look at what the opportunities are. So it's a bit early to know that number. And when we do know it, we will share it with the government, but it'll be some time. So I'm afraid we're not immediately in a position to know that. And then it will be dispersed according to the needs of the program. But again, we're too early to know exactly what that is.
Some people would like to know, is this considered a debt?
And it's a very good question. It is not a debt. It's what we call a grant. And so a grant is, there's no repayment, there's no interest. It is just providing funding. Now we have to set up entities and different ways to sort of handle how the project is done, but it is not repayable. It's what we call a grant.
We know many countries that had this funding opportunity have been doing very well in terms of development, investment, and we really cherish that, and that's why we're excited about that. But if it is a grant, what type of grant? Is it like a reimbursement grant? To go spend the money, you pay them back, or how does that work?
There's no repayment. What it is it is giving money to, we have to set up an entity to actually handle the implementation of it. And then the money will go to different, it really depends on what we're working on, but it will go to different organizations or entities to actually implement what the project is. But it is not repayable, and there's no interest, there's no repayment requirement. It is the United States, through our agency, giving money to Togo, but through this, there's a lot of entities that have to be set up to actually pay for what we'll be investing in.
Now that Togo is approved for this funding, what are the expectations of the MCC towards Togo or any other country getting the money? so that we don't lose that money, that funding?
Well, it's also a good question. Our board and our whole agency was set up to be very selective and very data-driven. And so it really runs right the way through our whole process, where countries become eligible, they have to stay eligible, they have to continue to work on the matters that keep the country eligible. So this would be running the economy, investing in people, continuing to work on democratic rights, continuing to fight corruption. So these are some of the, what we'll call the values and the characteristics that are sort of essential to how our agency works. And so at every step in the process, we continue to look at that. The country has been approved to start looking at a compact once we do a lot of the design work, which takes a while. It will then go to the board of directors, where the final projects will actually be approved. So we have a long and I think very productive road ahead of us, but it'll be important for Togo to keep thinking about these points of eligibility.
This is a good news for the whole country, but also for us, the press, that have the privilege to be here at this event. It's very rare to come here for this, but now with the funding, we have a new beginning in our country. How much more are we going to get into that communication about this funding throughout its terms, so that we can communicate to the people, or this thing you're talking about, the project, the funding, but it will be up to the MCs. But what can we know for the media from this day and this point forward?
Well, first of all, it's a great honor to have all of our friends and visitors here from the continent. So it's just been wonderful to have everybody here. So thank you all for coming. In terms of the media, we can work with the country on that. We can, if our country partners want to have some sort of communications and publicity around it, that's great. If they don't want to, we can work on that. So we've got some latitude there. Typically, when we enter into an arrangement, there may be an event that gets covered by the media, or when we sign all the contracts, that could be covered by the media. When the work is finished, that can be covered by the media. So we can work on what everyone wants on that.
Awesome.
And it'll be a great moment to celebrate our wonderful partnership with Togo.
Thank you so much, and we hope to see you in Togo very soon. I hope the delegation will be coming on ground so we can see.
I would look forward to that. It would be a wonderful opportunity and a great honor for me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.